You're watching the CG Live podcast. Now, the content for these podcasts are a little bit different than our normal pods as we bring on members and do long-form interviews. These were actually recorded live at our events with members that were going on stage to present, so the content is killer. Enjoy the show. Welcome back into the Collective Genius podcast. We are live at our Q2 event here in Clearwater Beach, Florida. We are back with another member, this time a CG CEO member, Mr. Casey Ryan from Las Vegas. Casey.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Good to see you as always. You're the only person I know. A little trivia about Casey Ryan. He's the only person I know that his wife is the same name as his. Casey Ryan and Casey Ryan. I never forget his wife's name because her name is Casey Ryan as well. So Casey is one of the good ones. He has been with us for a while, based out of Las Vegas. Why don't you tell them what your model is and how long you've been doing it?
Yeah, so born and raised in Las Vegas.
Rare, right?
Rare,
How many people are born and raised in Vegas?
It's funny I hear that, but I feel like everybody I know out there is too, but I think that's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, born and raised in Las Vegas. I fix and flip, wholesale. I've got a rental portfolio, but that's all in Oklahoma, a few sporadic ones in Vegas, but we're predominantly wholesale though. Do some land commercial deals here and there, maybe a couple a year, but yeah, 70% wholesale, 30% fix and flip.
Okay. So in Las Vegas, born and raised, fix and flip, wholesale business, continue to evolve over the years. Like a few people, in fact, one today that we had on the show, former engineer.
Yep.
So how does one go from being an engineer to a real estate investor?
I think it's kind of a good fit because, the real estate industry is, how do I put it? It's not that complicated. And I think when you get people that like the way that marketing is going and the CRMs are going, it's like it is helpful to have that technology background. Even if you're not a technology engineer, you still have that mindset. And it's more of like identifying problems and trying to solve them. That's pretty much all it comes
through
down.
systems and process, and you're building out things to solve.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And we know that real estate is it's repeatable process, and those that do it at a super high level ultimately have better systems and therefore easier to scale their business. In fact, your business is one that's pretty lean relative to what you've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, our employee count, I think we have 2 inside sales, so 2 setters, and then 2 closers, a transaction coordinator, dispo, and a project manager and a listing agent. And then my mom does my books. So there's about 10 of us. Super
lean business, but yet you're still at our CEO level, which, I want to speak to, the difference between the two, as we've talked about on the live podcast. We have members that, that have been with us for a very long time at the CG Premier level, almost 200 members total at the CG Premier. Those are people doing between $2 and $10 million of gross annual profit. And then we have others that, are above that number, and they have made their way into that CEO room. You did that last year. What's been the difference between the two communities for you?
Just the topic of the conversations is more, it's definitely more high level. I know that like my guilty pleasure is the tactical stuff. And I really like sharing it, talking about it, but it's nice because we get the best of both worlds. I get that in like the networking time, but like ultimately the conversations that I'm having in the CEO room are pushing me to be better, and pushing me to think in a way that I'm not always in the trenches, because I have a tendency to do it.
That's that engineer in you.
It's a lot easier for me to do than think about things like that sometimes.
Yeah, you got to build it out. That's growth. Yeah. No doubt about it. You have to build it out, but eventually at some point hopefully that CEO room is bringing you that. There's a lot of visionaries in that room that push you, and you're still a very young man. And so a lot of the people that are in that room with you are older than you. And so there's a lot of wisdom, both life and business in that room. I'm sure that helps.
No, I really appreciate a lot of the conversations that I have about like family and, how to attack those things too, because I actually, surprisingly, I'm a visionary by birth and an integrator by force. Like if you look at my PI, I'm a maverick with a straight line across. So I do have a visionary profile, but I have just learned how to be able to execute and integrate too over time through probably my engineering days.
So Casey's one of those individuals that a lot of people want to hear from because he has automated a ton of things where most investors have to hire the who, not how kind of thing. And Casey, over the years, I know we've had many a conversation about you building out, systems to automate a lot of this stuff. I remember you were automating sending deals to your lender well before
Yeah.
anyone else had ever had that conversation. That lender at the time had a different name now. That's how long ago
Yep.
it was that we had that conversation where you would hit a button in your CRM that you had built out and it'd send it to the lender to get approved. I mean, that's the type of technology things that you've been on for a very long time within this community. Today, earlier, and I'm sorry I missed it, but I was up here shooting live podcast. You presented with Stephanie Betters on technology. And can you talk to the people about what that presentation was about?
Yeah. So from a 30,000 foot overview, I mean, it was basically how it's funny. Me and her sat down for a random breakfast a couple CGs ago. And then I was kind of talking about what I was doing with enriching the data in my CRM. And it was funny because she had been working on the same exact thing for like the last 6-8 months also. And we were like both like at the exact same conclusions. But it's just like the future of it is like we spend so much time, energy, and effort and money on, new marketing lists, new leads, whatever the case is. We spend so much time and energy on it. And then we forget about all the leads that we've spent tens of thousands, hundreds of millions of dollars on in our CRM.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just how we've enriched that data with taking our CRM data and adding in public records to create kind of predictive modeling and identify, like I have 15,000 active leads in my CRM at any time, not to mention the 500, 800, whatever new leads that are being generated each month. It's like it's a way to inject all your marketing lists into your CRM and make it like a living, breathing version of it. So like if you have all the if you have all the records in your CRM and one pops up vacant, that was lead number 1,220 from 4 years ago. It's like all of a sudden it comes vacant. You probably wouldn't have called that lead for another 6 months, 8 months, or whatever, whenever your team would get to it. For them to know, it's like that lead is raising that hand
Immediately.
again. Immediately.
Say, hey, call me right now, or whatever outbound you're going to do with that particular one.
Right.
Correct?
Yep.
It's like, hey, I'm ready.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
How did that land? Because I know technology, especially when you're talking about enriching and adding, how do you feel like that landed?
I mean, I came right over to this podcast, but there's people coming and saying they wanted to talk to me later. So I think it went well. And Stephanie said she was getting a lot of texts about it. I think, sometimes it's like super overwhelming and intense. So, I mean, I try to keep it as surface level as possible, but at the same time, it's like, I didn't want to just talk about the concepts. I wanted to really show people exactly how to execute on it, or just take a picture and send it to whoever on their team would execute on it to make it easier. I wanted to touch on it a little bit, so we try to keep it without going too deep in the weeds.
So how did you, like, if you had to summarize it on something that someone could leave the room with and do immediately, what do you have one thing that they could take away?
It's get your CRM hooked up. There's a few done for you services, but get your CRM hooked up to some type of API, which is just bringing those data points back. Like a foreclosure pops up, boom, it's linked to your CRM to an old lead. But that would be what I would say is step one, because then what we were talking about was step two, is you take all of that data and you basically feed it into AI with different circumstances, or different objective outcomes.
So this presentation was earlier. It was, technology and how it's utilizing for leads. To be able to, quite frankly, when people they'll raise their hand because of what's without them telling you, right? It's feeding into. And where I was going with that is to be in rooms with people that are thinking at that level when you're trying to get, in the room more, and you're sitting there with 10,000 leads. Those are game-changing conversations. So you do this presentation. Now, with intention, I would make sure that I would go to you and say, hey, Casey, can I get 10 minutes with you over the breakfast tomorrow? Those are the type of conversations that take business to the next level. So when we're talking about why you would want to be in this room and why you would want to go to explorecg.com to learn more about this community, it's because of conversations like that. You're not going to have that conversation as a real estate investor trying to scale your business. You're not going to have those type of conversations when you're down, when your head's down and just grinding. You are going to be able to grow your business, but to take it to the next level, that's the type of conversations that most people want to have, but they don't know that are happening in rooms like this. Every quarter, 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're here now, day one. I almost said day two because that's how long I've been sitting in this chair. So for day one, we got 2 more days left here at our live event here in Clearwater Beach, Florida. I have Casey Ryan to my right here, real estate investor from Las Vegas. He's at our CG CEO level, truly scaled his business over the last few years into our highest level community. If you were summarizing what CG has meant to your business, is it possible to summarize in a short amount of time?
Yeah, there's so many things. I feel like it's created like a community, because where do you meet people like that in life? Like, I don't even have time to make new friends at all, let alone I find these people. And the odds are, if you're ever like trying to create that kind of proximity or network around you, if it's in your market, they're probably your competitors, and it's just not quite the same. I mean, I share with my competitors too, and there's other people in this group that are in my market, but like, you just don't get exposed to this high level of people throughout your life, let alone get to have like intimate conversations with them.
Mm-hmm. So something earlier that Alan Stein Jr., our keynote speaker, we're going to try to get him on the pod, by the way. I had a great conversation with him. I know you missed that presentation, but it's a good one to go back and watch. He used a quote, and he used it again. I heard him on another pod talking about this, but I think it really summarizes CG. And he said that a candle does not lose its flame by sharing it and lighting other candles. Like, that's to me, that is true CG in a nutshell. Like, when Jason started this group 14, 15 years ago now, I've been associated for 10. 10 years ago, there were a lot more competitors, a lot more people holding things tight. Yep. Now it's really execution that separates. And so, taking your candle and lighting someone else's truly is going to give you that feeling of I'm bringing value. And then next thing you know, you're having conversations with someone that can help you. This is the reason I bring this up, is because you're one of the stories I share quite often of someone just with intentionality having conversations, good conversations with other members that turned in. You mentioned earlier that you don't have rentals in Vegas, you have them in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Will you share that story of how that came about?
Yeah, I met another CG member a couple of years ago, and I was having a tax problem as far as how much I owed, and I wanted that problem to stop. So I ended up buying in like 16 months or so about 120 properties and then 2 apartment complexes. So to alleviate that tax problem, and I would not have had that opportunity if it wasn't for CG.
How many doors?
120 single family, and then a 90-unit apartment, a 50-unit apartment complex. Oh, and then we partnered with Scott on that storage facility out there too.
I love how you just add that part in, because I was going to say, hold on, wasn't there a self-storage unit? Yeah. So that story was you, a member in Oklahoma, and another member that focused on self-storage came together to close on a self-storage, one or multiple?
It was one, and then we tripled the size of it.
Triple the size. Yeah. So it's continued to grow. Is that in Oklahoma City?
It's just right outside.
Just right outside of Oklahoma City.
Yep.
So, when we were talking about earlier of this community meeting like-minded individuals, solving each other's problems. Well, his problem happened to be that he had a tax burden that he wanted to make sure that if he could, he trusted another member, ended up buying, bunch of single family, multifamily assets, and then brought another member in to take down self-storage, which neither one of you had that knowledge on.
No.
Right?
Yeah. Learning experience for sure.
Okay. So give me a little bit about that. Learning experience from goods, learning from bad. Give me
all learning is good, but the construction or our development costs went up so much because of basically groundwork that we had to do, because there's a washout that we had to pouring so much concrete that it was insane, and went up. Our budget went up. I mean, what did it go? I think it went up it was 60% higher than we thought it was.
On the self-storage side?
Yeah.
With growing and building that.
With adding the additional units.
Right.
Yeah. It was fine the way it was, but then when we added on, all that came a curveball, but
Yeah.
it's all good.
All learning is good.
Yep, all learning
All
is
learning
good.
is good. And you can't just have wins all the time,
No,
right?
no.
At some point, you're going to have some losses that end up being wins because you learn from them,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Anything that you would add to your experience in CG? If somebody was on the fence, what would you say to them?
I think it's a no-brainer because it's not just, I mean, to me, the most valuable thing is like the majority of people in this group, have lived the kind of journey that I have. A lot of them are older, more experienced, and it's like really important to me to put my family first and like just getting like tips and tricks and like, how much they've emphasized, prioritizing my family, which was how I would go about it too. But it's just like a lot of some entrepreneurs that I've met in the past have not done that, and they've paid like the ultimate cost for that. So I just like getting that wisdom to me is like extremely valuable. Plus, it cuts the learning curve on so much of like different marketing channels. There's been millions and millions of dollars spent and experience had like leading teams run like processes and sales funnels and everything. And you get like insight from somebody having decades worth of experience and thousands of deals. And you just get it like all that advice dropped in your lap tomorrow. It just really cuts the learning curve.
It's like being in a room with a bunch of CEOs that are all well advanced in years beyond you. Same thing with wisdom, that you just have to be in the room and ask specifically with intention the questions and the challenges that you're trying to overcome. If you are, somebody that is wanting that, I encourage you to go to explorecg.com. That's a website that will tell you everything you need to know about CG. There's an application on there. Please take the time to fill it out. You'll have an opportunity to talk to myself or somebody on our team to help walk you through what it is to be a CG member. And you too could be in a room like Casey here and anybody else that we've had on the pod here today. Casey, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to sit down with you. We haven't done this yet. We'll get you on the regular pod as well.
Sounds good.
And thanks for bringing value today. I know that I talked to a couple of people. I wasn't able to watch the presentation, but I talked to a couple of people on just the amount of technology focus that we're bringing from our members, and that members are focused on it, that are ahead of the game a little bit, or giving back is super important, and you're doing that. So thank you.
Of course.
Appreciate you joining me. All right, Casey. All right, everyone. That is a wrap for today. If you are listening to this live, this is the last live of the day, day one here at our Q2 event in Clearwater Beach, Florida for CG CEO and CG Premier. If you're listening to the recorded version, I encourage you to continue downloading each one of these episodes. And if you've missed any of those, you can go back to thecgpodcast.com. Would love to see you in one of these rooms in the future. Again, you can check us out at explorecg.com. For now, for today, we will see you tomorrow on the next live CG podcast.
Are you ready to scale your real estate business? Visit explorecg.com, where real estate investors come to scale. Subscribe to the Collective Genius podcast and hit the bell icon to be notified when our next episode releases. And thanks for listening. This podcast is for informational purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and the opinions expressed by the hosts and participants are their own. The Collective Genius is not liable for any direct, indirect, consequential, or other damages resulting from reliance on the information shared in this podcast.